My name is Aminah Ibrahim, and today I'll be answering the question, what are some of the struggles of living here in Gambia? Today I'm going to be answering that question, and I'm going to be sharing a few of the things that were personal struggles that I experienced with being here in Gambia. Myself and my family, we moved here about 5 months ago from the United States, my husband and I, with our 8 children. And you know, it's been a journey. When I first got here, the heat. So it was definitely hot. So we came here in October. The part where I struggled with the heat, actually, it wasn't like with me being hot and sweating. Those weren't my struggles. But the struggles that I had actually with the heat was like my hair. Because I had been doing like the same hair regimen for, I don't know, like maybe like a year straight. I was working on like natural hair growth. And so whenever we moved here to Gambia, the heat, it was so hot, like my hair just continuously like got stripped of the natural oils, and I wasn't expecting that to have to like change my hair routine. But so like the heat really made my hair suffer, and I felt like my hair was shedding. So it took me like a good month to figure out like how to switch up my routine. But so the heat did that. I struggled with that. That was one thing, definitely. In October, you wouldn't really like expect it to be hot, but it was super hot. And I actually was told that that's like the hottest time of the year. But it's not hot all the time, really. Like, that's a myth that it's always hot in Africa or in Gambia. That's a myth. It's always hot in Gambia. It's not always hot in Gambia. It's not always hot in Africa. It just depends on the type of, it depends on the time of the year. But definitely when we arrived, that was like a really hot time of the year in October when we arrived. So that was one thing. The other thing that I actually had difficulty was with like insects. Okay, so I'm scared of insects. I'm scared of basically anything that's not human, you know, like lizards and spiders or whatever. And like, you definitely, if you have a spider phobia, you have to like actively try to overcome that, which I definitely did. When I was in the US, I had a huge spider phobia, and then I noticed that I was going to be like living in fear if I didn't try to overcome that, because there's definitely wall spiders here in Gambia, and they'll just like, I'm not telling you like your house is going to be covered in them, no, but it's pretty common that you will see like a spider hanging out and on the ceiling or in the corner, and you kind of have to just get used to that. Like, I had to get used to it. And they're harmless. Like, they're, you know, I looked them up and researched it and read all about it and everything, because that was like a phobia, a fear that I had, but I had to get past it unless I wanted to be living in fear. So that was like insects. Also lizards. Like I said, like, I'm kind of afraid of everything that's not human, so I was afraid of the lizards. These are things like, I don't know, people may look at them as like, if you don't have these type of fears, they could be looked at as like not real struggles, but these were the things that I personally like struggled with. So insects. Oh, also like the animals. I literally thought that the cows were going to charge at me with their horns for no reason. The same thing as the goats. Like, I was just afraid of like walking down the street, walking down the road at certain parts of the day, certain times of the morning, you know, where the cows, early morning, they come out to graze and stuff like that. I was afraid. I was afraid that the animals would just like attack me for no reason. So a big one that was difficult for me to adapt to was like the sanitary habits when dealing with food. So like, I struggle with that. You will see that depending on where you go, depending on what side of town you're in or whatever, they will lay your food like on the counter with no barrier. Or, you know, sometimes even like your food will be touched or handed to you like straight out of someone's hand. And I'm saying like, you're out and you're purchasing food, bread or something like that. So like, we struggle with that. I know like my whole family struggled with that when we got here. With coming from the US, it's just like, you're not used to that. Like, you know, if you go and purchase food, or if your food is touched, yeah, you just don't expect your food to be touched. That's just like not what we were used to, like where we came from. So that was a huge struggle. Like the sanitary habits with dealing with food. So I wasn't really sure if like people wanted to know what I struggle with personally, or like just struggles that one could expect to experience like with arriving. So there was one thing that really like stands out in my mind is like the dirt that you have to walk through. So I wasn't really aware that only the main highways are paved here in Gambia. So, you know, if you're walking to the store or something like that, you're going to be walking like, through sand. And I called myself being in shape before I got here. I actually like thought that I was really, really fit. Definitely, I love exercise. I'm a health and wellness person, and I exercise on a regular basis. But whenever I came here to Gambia, it was a different type of exercise, like walking through that sand. And I really like, it kind of hurt my feelings, made me feel like I was out of shape. So I would say that that could be a struggle with someone who is not used to exercise, because like my body is used to exercise and I struggled with it getting through the sand. Now, alhamdulillah, I've gotten stronger, so I'm actually able to run and jog through the sand, alhamdulillah. But it was a struggle when I first got here. I definitely was used to like pavement, you know, on the streets, the roads and the sidewalks and everything. So I would say if you're able to work on, you know, fitness, if you're not like used to exercise, if you're able to work on getting more exercise into your routine before coming to Gambia, I would say even before visiting Gambia, you know, before coming for a visit, you know, I would definitely start like walking and exercising so that your body is not like in shock. Because I feel like if your body is not used to the exercise, it can really cause you to have like a more difficult experience with being here for sure. Automatically, like if you're from the US, you're gonna be charged even sometimes like 3 times as much as what something costs. And if you don't know any better, if you don't know the price for the item, then you're just basically gonna get ripped off. So, you know, like I said, I feel like that's gonna be the situation, because like when they see you, they don't know, you know, that you're not African, but once you start talking, they know you're American. They're gonna jack the price up. So that's definitely a huge issue that it's a huge struggle of being here in Gambia. You're not gonna be given like charge fair prices. The power outages are another one. So I actually whenever I was told about the power outages, I was expecting it to be like extremely horrible. Like people talked about the power outages so much. Like people talked about the power outages so much that I just expected it to be like a lot worse than what it actually was. And I mean, I don't feel like it's that bad. Like the power does go out and you just have to like take precautions. You have to make sure that you keep like your cell phone charged. You know, like if there's something that you need to do in your phone and you have like a low battery, you just kind of have to like pay attention to things that you maybe necessarily didn't have to pay close attention to. You know, if you were in the US or somewhere where they don't have power outages. So like if you know that you're going to be going out, you can't like wait till the last minute to charge your phone and stuff like that, or your computer. If you know you have something to do and the power goes out, you know, there's no guarantee that it's going to be only out for a short period of time. So you kind of have to like make sure you don't do last minute things like that, like charge up your cell phone and things like that, you know, because the power might go out. So that's the main thing with the power outages. Another thing is like the internet, which my internet is pretty reliable. It's just not 100%, you know. So like, of course, if you're coming from the US, your internet is going to be perfect all the time. That's not the case here in Gambia. Your internet is not going to be perfect all the time. Sometimes it's just not going to work. But like I say, it's reliable. Like for the most part, it's reliable. And for me, like I use the internet all the time. I have a whole channel where I upload, you know, regularly every week, and I'm constantly like I have to be on the internet, even like to put the videos together and all that stuff, you know. So yeah, I mean it's not perfect, but it works for me. Like I don't feel like it's as big of a deal as like people really made it out to be. I was terrified thinking that I was barely going to be able to connect to the internet, but it's not 100%. It's definitely one of the struggles. So the biggest problem or struggle that I actually have with being here in Gambia, I actually don't think that I'll be getting used to anytime soon. And I regret to even have to really talk about it, but you know, I want to be fair and actually bring it up. So there's a huge issue with thievery here in Gambia. And the punishment for it is not severe. So like people don't really suffer the consequences of jumping over someone's gate or whatever to their yard, and actually like stealing things out of the yard. I hate to say that, you know, but that's the reality. It's one of the problems that's here in Gambia, and it's a very common issue. You know, actually, like, it doesn't even matter what part of Gambia, because we don't live in a bad neighborhood. So it doesn't matter like what area of Gambia. If you're even in the part where there are more expensive homes, you're just probably definitely going to have to hire like a guard to be able to guard your premises when you're not home, or even like in the nighttime. So, you know, like I say, I hate to really like focus on any of the negative parts. I definitely still feel like the pros outweigh the cons with being here, but that is one of the things we've had definitely people like come on our property and take things. So the thievery, that is a big deal. That's a huge struggle with being here. So I also wanted to mention like a few things about the schools. Although like for me personally, it wasn't an issue, but I feel like it could be a struggle for someone if they're used to like things being close to perfection, or just being, well, you know, if you're coming from the US and you think about like school, you imagine, you know, like the students being in a classroom and everything just being like in a professional setting. So the way that the schools are here in Gambia, like a lot of the times the students will be sitting like on the floor, and it's normal, you know. Or if there are desks in the school, like there won't be like a lot of them, so some students will be sitting on the floor, you know. It's like for me it wasn't a big deal. My children in the Quran and Arabic school they go to, like they have mats, you know, rolled out on the floor, and all of the children are sitting on the floor. And like I said, for me it's not a big deal. They're learning what they need to learn there. Alhamdulillah, they're in a safe environment. Like I'm not worried about that. But you know, it could be a shock for someone who's not expecting it, and it can kind of be like a turn off. It just depends on the type of things that's important to you. But so I would say like for the schools, that would be one of the struggles. And the reason why it's like that, I'm sure, is just about like the school not having the appropriate funding that they need to be able to like provide desks and stuff like that. So that could be one of the struggles, but it wasn't a struggle for me. Like I feel like if my children are getting the knowledge that they need, and it's normal like for the society, like it wasn't a big deal. But that could be a struggle for some people. But my disclaimer is I'm not going to say that those are like the only struggles or problems that you could encounter with being here in Gambia. They're just the ones that really like stood out to me, or the ones that I felt like, you know, some of them I felt like that they were personal struggles for me. And I think about like people coming here from, like I came from the US, people that are coming from the US, I try to imagine like what what their struggles could be with coming here. And those were the things that stood out in my mind. But I'm definitely hoping like in the future to be able to do like a pros and cons video about Gambia. For me, like I said, the pros just definitely outweigh the cons, but I didn't want to focus in on this because I actually had a special request to do like the struggles of being here, or what some of the potential struggles of being here in Gambia would be. So that's why I just touched on those things. I hope that my answers answer the questions that people had about like the struggles, or things that I feel like could potentially be like struggles of being here in Gambia.